Meanwhile, Neymar speaking about Messi for the first time after making that move to MLS. I believe the league will become a lot more popular, so everyone has to take advantage, enjoy watching Lionel Messi play, because unfortunately, nothing lasts forever.
He should know.
Wow, that was a little bit
mean.
Snidey.
Luis joins us. Obviously, you know Lionel Messi from playing with him, Luis. When we've seen these big superstars come over before, you're thinking David Beckham, you're thinking Zlatan. They're, of course, on the talk shows. It comes almost very naturally to them. That isn't something that Messi particularly has in him. Is it something that he'll be looking to kind of grow as he's here, or is it something he's not bothered with at all?
I don't think he's not bothered at all. I think he just goes there to show his football, to enjoy the lifestyle, to why not continue making history? We don't know what is he going to be capable of, because, again, we are talking about the best player in the history. I know that some people think that he's getting too old to the game, but with the quality, technique, the talent that he's got, the experience that he's got, I think it's going to be fantastic to watch once again. I don't know what he's going to have around. I don't know if he's going to be surrounded by, well, I expect young players who can run for him, who can help him. But definitely when he's going to be on the ball in a league like MLS that has been growing so much in the past 10 years, I think he's going to do well for everybody and for us, that we can continue watching the best player in the history.
The general consensus, Jules, is he didn't make many friends in Paris. Do you think the same would happen in Florida as well?
It's different. I mean, Miami is a city with a big South American vibe, right? So there's I think on that sense, he will feel more at home than he did in Paris, for sure. The thing is, there's two things. On the pitch, like Luis just said, it would be amazing for MLS to have him there. He would be great. He would enjoy it. It would bring a lot of focus on the league, of course, in terms of sponsoring, marketing, the ticketing. Of course, people are going to fill stadiums just to watch him, even if he plays 5 minutes there, 10 minutes on a plastic pitch. It doesn't matter. That's great. In terms of him selling the league, selling MLS in the world or even in the US, full stop, then that might be different. Because if you expect him to do like Ibra did and do some talk shows late, you know, this is not Messi. Messi is not that. And Messi's already said, if you remember the interview that he gave in Spain, he said, I also chose Miami to spend more time with my family, to be more at home, more with the family. I felt in Paris that there was a disconnection in a way. This is not good. I want to go back to that, and this buys me peace. I think he even used the word himself, path peace. If you start to want him to sell the league and go on TV and do shows and this and that, he's not going to feel that. So I think on the pitch he will do his job, and he will be the best ambassador for MLS and best that MLS has ever had and soccer in the US has ever had. But I don't think the expectations to be too high on the off-the-field stuff that he could do for MLS.
Is that enough? Do you need him going on Jimmy Kimmel to sell this kind of story to people who don't care about soccer?
I think the league is in a very different place than it was in 2006, when David Beckham came over. I think having a player like Lionel Messi with his talents, yes, he's not the player that he once was, but I still think he's one of the best players in world football. Coming to Major League Soccer, I think is all that the league needs right now. Listen, I understand the concern, I understand the criticism, but at the same time, you want players of that quality on the field. You want to start attracting players who can play at that level. Lionel Messi ticks a lot of boxes.
We didn't see you on the talk show circuit that much, Ali, when you were playing. Was that a personal choice?
Well, absolutely, Dan. I'm a family man. I wanted to spend more time with the family. You see, that was the issue. There's no doubt that he's going to be an ambassador for this league on the field. And there's no doubt in my mind either that the reason he picks MLS over the other options that may have been available is to find peace of mind. And that peace of mind does not come with doing something that is out of character. Right. And going into these shows and sort of pitching the league out to the world, that's out of character for Lionel Messi. He's not doing any of that.
Is that okay?
It's okay. He's Lionel Messi, right?
Yeah.
And
like a thing to say.
Yeah. I'm Lionel Messi. I show up, and that's it. I'm going to play, and whatever I do on the field is the thing that I'm going to add value with. And then all these people that are coming to watch, they're coming to watch me. This is how I get the league's name out there. Because now there are going to be people showing highlights of MLS around the world because I'm here. Not because that guy's here, not because that guy's here, it's because I'm here. If that's not enough for you, too bad, too sad. It's not his responsibility, and I don't think he wants any part of that. He hasn't wanted any part of that ever as a professional. That's not what he does. It's not what he feels comfortable doing. You know that full well if you're MLS when you make this decision, and so therefore you shouldn't expect miracles out of a guy that doesn't want to do this to begin with.
And again, the league is in such a different place now than it was in 2006 when he needed somebody to come out and sell the league to the masses, as it were. Atlanta getting, 60,000, Seattle packing stadiums. So many clubs in MLS now have soccer-specific stadiums that they're filling week in, week out, or close enough to full. It's so different from, as I say, 20 years ago when you couldn't get anybody to come out and watch a league.
The other thing that I would say is that if you're anybody who's on the periphery of sports, I'm not even saying you're a fan of any sport, but you're on the periphery of sports. If you know anything about soccer, you know one name. It's Messi. You may know Ronaldo, but Messi, right? You may not even know that his first name is Lionel, but you know that name, Messi. And when you hear that Messi is in MLS and you may have the opportunity to go and watch him in your local market, in whatever stadium you go and support, you're going to go blindly without Messi having to come on TV and say, hey, guys, we play this weekend.
Yes. You may need a loan from Messi to pay for the ticket.
That's a different story.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.